Hi, today is August 7th, 2024, and here are my poems for the day. The first one is poem number 1220 for the year, Petite. 50 years ago today? Really? So I was 13 when Philippe Petit walked from tower to tower across a tightrope? It still thrills and frightens me, as if somehow, even though it was so long ago, and even though the towers are no longer there, a part of me still holds my breath for fear that he might fall. I look at the pictures or the film, and I worry about sudden gusts of wind, or a slip, or a false step. How awful if he had fallen! How wonderful that he didn't, that he is still here to remember it. Who could have imagined that he would survive longer than the towers? What a beautiful, horrible, incredible world it is, to have once seen someone walk back and forth between the towers, and then to no longer have the towers. Poem number 1221, Impossibilities. She woke up this morning full of excitement, for she knew the world was brimming with impossibilities. It was impossible for her to explore the bottom of the ocean with a submarine because she had no access to a submarine. It would be impossible for her to fly around in a flying car, or to fly around without a car, or to speak the language of the birds, or to dance with dolphins. It was impossible for her to walk on the moon or Mars or the sun, impossible for her to play Rachmaninoff's Fifth, impossible for her to become a pile of bricks or sand or pixie dust or angel dust. It was impossible for her to think of even the smallest, most infinitesimal fraction of the number of things it would be impossible for her to do. Whereas for most people, the thought of all that impossibility would be discouraging or disheartening. It excited her to think of how much impossibility there was. It gave her a tremendous sense of relief and gratitude. When she considered the impossibilities, she was extremely, ecstatically happy. Poem number 1222, Toe Strike. One morning last month, all of his toes went on strike and walked out. They held up picket signs and walked in a circle in front of the couch. He was unable to read the signs, as the writing was very small and in the toe language. Nor could he understand the shouts and the chants, so he had no idea whether he could even meet the demands of his disgruntled toes. Then, 13 days after they had walked out, the toes returned to his feet. The strike had ended as mysteriously as it had begun. He is relieved, but for the rest of this year he has resolved to tread carefully and to try not to step on any toes. Poem number 1223, Toe Talk. My mother used to tell me that when I was little I used to talk to my toes. She couldn't tell me anything that I said to them, and I never asked her if I ever appeared to be listening to them. But if I know me, and I'm not saying I do, I probably didn't listen. And I probably never asked them if what I was saying to them was interesting to them. I probably just blabbed on and on, knowing I had a captive audience, or maybe thinking, these are my toes, they will listen to whatever I want to tell them because they are mine and that is part of their job. But maybe I did listen now and then. Maybe I even learned something. If I ever remember anything that I might have learned from the toes, I hope I also remember to write it down. And the last poem of the day, poem number 1224, The Sleep of Reason. Okay, this is a kind of weird thing that just in a sense happened. I had the song Creatures of Love by Talking Heads going through my head, and it occurred to me to look up the phrase the sleep of reason because I've thought often about that line from the song, From the sleep of reason, a life is born. And for some reason, I had always assumed that David Byrne didn't make up that phrase. Finally, more or less just now, I looked it up and learned about the Goya aquatint circa 1799, entitled The Sleep of Reason Produces Monsters. A man is sleeping, and behind him there are owls and bats and a large reclining feline. Wikipedia the Great says that the print is generally thought to be an endorsement of Enlightenment values. Without reason, evil and corruption prevail. David Byrne seems to be saying the opposite, and of course an earlier Talking Heads album was called Stop Making Sense. I don't know whether I should try to reason this out or to try to stop making sense of it, but it is not impossible that I will have more to say about this at some point in the future. All right, that's it. Thank you. I appreciate you.